In this video, we're going to learn about the HTML3D entity. The HTML3D entity has a lot of different capabilities, but in this video, we're going to learn how to use the entity to create a scoreboard, and then also streaming video if you wanted to insert a YouTube video for instructional purposes. So in this video, we are going to learn about HTML3D entity, the script component, creating a scoreboard, and streaming video. So let's get started. All right, here I'm in a scene that I have been working on in the last several videos. Let's play our scene and to refresh our memories on what we have. I'm also going to filter my assets panel down to just behaviors. Makes it a lot easier because those are the things we're accessing the most. If I press the play button, this starts the game where we have a blue ball to start off with randomly, and then that drops. When that drops in, we get now an orange ball randomly. One thing to note is you see how when the ball kind of repositions and starts at the top of the screen, it just kind of appears out of nowhere. You see that? What we want to do is we're going to add something to kind of make this look a little bit better, and also a place to place our scoreboard. So right now, as you notice, the orange ball can fall into the blue ball, or the blue ball can fall into the orange bucket, I should say. And the tilt behavior still happens either way. Every 3 that goes into a bucket at all, it tilts up a little bit. The table does. However, we want to now make a scoreboard so that when the ball successfully drops, so a blue ball into the blue bucket and an orange ball into the orange bucket, we get a score update on a scoreboard up above. So we're going to do 2 things. We're going to add a cylinder up here to cover up where the ball spawns, for lack of a better term. And then we're going to put the scoreboard on top of that. Additionally, that's going to be using an HTML3D entity. We're also going to use an HTML3D entity to create like an instructional video for users that enter this scene for the first time. So let's actually start with that. It's a very simple thing to do. We go create entity, and we find HTML3D entity. Now it spawns or populates down here in the bottom. If I zoom in on this, the one that says this is HTML3D, let's rotate this. It's kind of hard to see because it's white on white, but we'll fix that in a minute. All right, and what you want to do is find a video, any video you want on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever streaming platform you want, and you have to grab the embed code, the iframe embed code to insert into the HTML3D entity. So what I did was I just made a sample instructional video, and what this says is if you're wanting to use this scene, go ahead and press the play button, and so on and so forth. So that's what this is. I just made this. So what I'm going to do is then click share, and then I'm going to find the embed, and then I'm just going to copy that embed. It's this iframe code up here. All right, so I have that copied to my clipboard. I can get out of that. I'm going to open an editor now. So with the HTML3D entity selected, let's actually just rename it to video. And then we're going to open an editor. And this HTML that you have, just replace all of that with the iframe that you grabbed from your online streaming service that you're using from their video. So then you got to make sure you press save. Now we see that same video inside. If you notice it's cut off a little bit, that's because the transform values are all equal. So we can change that a little bit if you want. We can go down. Let's just make that 1. That probably works. All right, let's press play to test this out and see how it works. I'm going to press play. Then I'm just going to click on the video itself. Welcome to the Amazon Sumerian Training Simulator. To play the game, click the play button underneath the table. That is the green triangle. And once the ball starts rolling, move your buckets using your keyboard to get the orange bucket or the blue bucket to be positioned underneath the table. Good luck. Okay. And that's how you use the HTML3D video to insert or embed videos whether it's YouTube or Vimeo or whatever platform you choose, you can get that into your scene. Now remember, you can adjust the size and the dimensions and everything like according to your video and how big you want it to be. You can make this a lot bigger, a lot smaller, just using the transform videos or the transform values. Now to review what we just did, we added an HTML video or HTML3D entity. We changed the name to video. Then I opened up the editor. That's the text editor available in Sumerian. And I just copied and pasted the iframe code that I grabbed from this video and put it in there. Nothing else other than that. And then I clicked save, and there it appeared, and I adjusted the transform values. So that's how you do streaming video. The next thing we want to do is create a scoreboard for successful drops, meaning a blue ball into a blue bucket or an orange ball into an orange bucket. So how do we do that? Let's start by adding a cylinder, as I mentioned before, up in the location to kind of hide the spawning or the respawning of the ball. So I just added a cylinder, and I'm going to move this up to, I believe it's 4 and 4 on the translation values. I do want to rotate it down this way. Doesn't really matter. Could be positive or negative. And let's change so it kind of blends in with the walls. Let's change the color to be, just make it black. There we go, so it stands out. So now what will happen is the ball will just kind of drop out of there as if it's, being produced from within the cylinder. All right, the next thing we want to do is add another HTML3D entity. And we are going to move this entity up to some more specific location or more specific values. We'll just do 3.3, 4, 0, negative 90. And we want to make it 0.4, 0.4, and 1. Z value got changed a little bit. I don't want to do Z, so we'll just go back. All right, so now we have if you look at it, it's just in front of this board. We can move it back or in front of the cylinder. Something like that. Okay. Now, remember, at the very beginning of this tutorial, we said, or this tutorial series, there's an asset pack to download. There's a few materials in there, a few scripts, a few HTML, some HTML code that we need to copy and paste. So make sure you open up those materials and you grab the score script for the scoreboard. That's the first thing we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this script. Now on the HTML, where did it go? There it is. Blends right in most of the time. HTML3D entity. I'm going to call this score board. All right. Now I'm going to add a component, and we need to add a script entity. I don't have any scripts really in this scene, so I'm going to add script by pressing the plus button, and we just want a custom script. Now here's an instance of the script. We need to edit it, so we hit the edit button. That is the pencil icon. And we get this generic template for a script. I'm going to delete everything that's in here and just add in the script that we provided in that asset pack. Now what is happening here is that this is going to be communicating with the HTML entity to which this is attached, and every time every time the listener into bucket is emitted in the state machine, and it matches the orange. If you remember, we had a few videos ago, we added a action that executed a script expression, and I was saying that in that instance, that action is emitting out into Sumerian that it is truly an orange ball. So when this orange matches into bucket, when these happen together, we're going to update the script. We're going to update the scoreboard. Conversely, when into blue bucket matches blue, so when that is emitted and it lines up with this also being emitted, it's going to say, oh wow, this was went into the blue bucket, it was a blue ball, therefore we're going to update the scoreboard. So that's what this script is doing, and it's communicating with the scoreboard script. So if you go over here in your documents, so by adding an HTML3D entity and we change the name to scoreboard, it automatically adds this script or this HTML code here. Now what I want to do is all I need to grab is the HTML that we provide in that asset pack and add this. And these two things are working together, the scoreboard and the score script, which I really want to rename this score script, and then click save. Accidentally copied something I didn't want. All right, so there are no errors. So this doesn't really matter. My scoreboard has been saved. My score script has been saved. My scoreboard HTML3D entity has been saved. And now what we see up here is this scoreboard. I'm going to press play. If I wanted to get some instructions, I could press the video play button. We'll just go ahead and start. All right, so the blue ball spawns out of the cylinder, it lands in the blue bucket, and there we go. I get 1. It updates to 1. Have an orange. Now let's see if we put an orange ball in a blue bucket. We do not get, and we'll do it again, we don't get an update on the scored. Now the table will continue to tilt because that's not looking at whether or not the color of the ball matches the bucket that it is supposed to be entering into. That behavior has really nothing to do with it. However, the scoreboard is looking at that. So to review, let's look at that again. To open up the text editor that we were just looking at, I'm going to Tools, and then I'm finding the text editor here. That'll open it up. Let's look at the score script. So remember, within the function, we have the function set up within our script. The into bucket orange, when that is emitted from one of our behaviors, and this orange script expression is also emitted, it's going to update the scoreboard with 1. It's going to add 1 to the scoreboard. Similarly, into bucket blue, when it registers that has been emitted and that the ball is defined as blue here through the script expression, it's going to update the HTML3D entity also with 1. So we'll just keep adding onto that scoreboard so you can see how far you get. Now it does get a little more complicated the faster you go because the table continues to tilt. And that is all that we are going to be doing in this video for using HTML3D entity, but that is how you use a scoreboard and also add a HTML3D entity to have an instructional video if you wish, or just how to stream video within a Sumerian scene. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you stick around for the next video.